podcast.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker. You probably know me better as Dorian Moldavar from Doctor Who, or the Fat Friar from Harry Potter. And this is Everything Geek Podcast.
Your attention, masters, mistresses. All systems functional for the Everything Geek Podcast.
Hey, it's James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Master Plo Koon in Star Wars The Clone Wars, and you're listening to Everything Geek, the podcast.
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot with the Everything Geek Podcast.
Hello everyone, you're listening to the Everything Geek Podcast. I'm your host Rory, and joining me are co-hosts Leon and Al.
Hey everyone.
And also joining us today is a very special guest. We have actor Stefan Kapicic, who plays Colossus in the Deadpool movie, and previously played Davros's operative in 24, Dragan Kapicic in We Will Be the World Champions, Yuri in Big Miracle, Bane in Almost Ordinary Story, Dmitry Yelevich in the event, and Dragan in the unit. Stefan, how are you?
Hello everyone, I'm perfect, I'm feeling so good. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure to have you join us today on the podcast.
Pleasure's all mine.
Great. And of course, such a big movie as well, Deadpool, and we're looking forward to talking to you about it. But before then, my first question for you is, how did you decide you wanted to become an actor?
Well, my mother was an actress, but, when I was born, she decided, to quit as an actress and to, just turn to her family. So I'm really grateful for that, so I just continued her path, and thank God I did that because everything is going on so perfectly for me, and she's so proud.
That's a really great answer. Very nice to hear. So, moving on to my next question, how were you originally cast as Colossus in the Deadpool movie?
Well, that was like a normal procedure in the beginning because that was like just a hush-hush movie, and I got the sides. I didn't know what's going on, I didn't know what I'm going for. But after like few rounds of auditioning for that, the guys from 10th Century Fox, they switched the names and they put like Wade. So I have, I'm a comic book geek, so when I heard like Wade, I knew that's Wade Wilson. So, and the other, and I was going for some Russian superhero, so I knew that can be only Colossus. So that helped me a lot because, then I like switched my audition, and I was like trying to get as close as I can to, the Colossus character. So after that, when they heard that, they just, flew me into Los Angeles, and I was like doing a performance in Croatia and in Montenegro. So I just had like 3-day gap. So I sat on a plane after my performance. I flew to Los Angeles. I was flying all day long. I came to LA, and I was having a test shoot with Tim Miller, which was supposed to last for like 4 hours, but it lasted for 8. I finished it, sat on a plane, and went back to Montenegro. Just like I arrived like 2 hours before my performance, so it felt like a dream. But thank God, then they called me and said, "You got the role. You are Colossus." So that wasn't a dream. Thank God for that.
Definitely, sounds like a great story. And you said you were a comic book geek yourself. What are your earliest memories of, comic books?
My earliest memories are like, because in ex-Yugoslavia, where I'm coming from, we have like really cool comic book culture. And, we have so many of European and the United, American comic books. So I was raised on Italian comic books, by the way, such as, Alan Ford, Dylan Dog, and lots of those. But my first like memory of Marvel comics was when my grandpa took me to a store, and there was like I was like 6 or 7 year old. I cannot like recall correctly, but I was really really small, and there was like a pile of comic books, some Marvel comic books, and which is really funny today. There was like the first one was Wolverine, some special edition with like a front page in which like his claws are ripping the front page. And there was like a few of X-Men just after that. So my grandpa, when he saw that I'm so into that, he wanted like to buy me one or two, but then when he saw how much I want that, he bought me the whole pile, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah, it's a really nice story, a great way to get into comic books for sure. So, moving on to my next question, were there any challenges you faced in bringing Colossus to life in the Deadpool movie?
Well, there was no challenge because Tim Miller is a big comic book fan, and he knew what he wants to do. He has his vision, so he was just like getting from every actor what he wanted. So when he heard my voice, as he told me later, when he heard my voice and the way I did Colossus, he said, "That's it. I want this. I want this authentic thing." Because there are like so many actors that that could work and that could like go for this role, but Tim wanted my voice. He wanted my acting. He wanted my because he felt that that's it. So when we started working, and we were like working back and forth for like 4.5 months on Colossus, uh, we were like trying to get so many different versions, so many like different voice ranges, trying to get, maybe sometimes like Colossus more serious, sometimes more funnier, so we did so many different approaches on Colossus. So plus Ryan Reynolds helped a lot because he had his own ideas about like how Colossus maybe would change some things and say some things. So the writers were like improvising, like giving me so many different lines that I should like do. But in the end, we made definitely a perfect and most authentic Colossus ever.
That's really great to hear, and it is obvious that a lot of work went into it because, as we know, you said yourself that you're a big comic
Hmm.
fan, and Ryan Reynolds and Tim Miller are big comic fans as well. So the three of you working on bringing this Colossus to life, you can really tell it worked well.
It worked perfectly. Have you seen the movie? Oh,
Not yet, but
you're gonna love it.
one of our co-host Al has, and he said Colossus was perfect. So,
Well,
you know,
one of the biggest compliment that I got, if you go to Rob Liefeld, the guy who's the creator of Deadpool, if you see his like Twitter
yeah,
account or like Instagram, you will see what he says about me and my role as Colossus, and about Leslie Uggams, and she plays Blind Al. So those compliments that we got, that we totally nailed and killed the roles, are like amazing. When you hear such a compliment from a creator of Deadpool, it's something unbelievable.
there's no better
No,
compliment to receive.
no
Um,
better compliments from that. Definitely. Well, and on the other side, a few days ago we had like that big screening here, for the fans here in New York. So the reactions were unbelievable. I almost cried, because I am a fan. I'm a geek on the other side, so I'm so proud that all those guys and all those girls, they're like so in love with the movie and with the Colossus character. So it makes me feel so proud and so happy and so grateful, that I had this chance and I didn't disappoint them.
Definitely. My next question, I feel like it's almost a stupid one, but I have to ask it
Let's
anyway.
go.
The X-Men films also have the character Colossus appear. However, in those films, he doesn't have the correct accent. did you know how big of a deal it would be to fans that Colossus would finally be given the correct accent through your voice?
But you know what? That was our goal, you know, because the Colossus in X-Men franchise, it was like their view and their version, which was not something that fans were expecting, and he had like really little space there. On the other side, Colossus is not American, He doesn't have American accent. He's Russian, He's not a superhero who's like thinking about his pronunciation, He's coming from Russia, so he needs one of his like main characteristics are like his accent in that world, because that makes him different in some other way. So that's why Tim wanted some authentic thing, somebody. My native language is Slavic, and it's really similar to Russian, though it's Serbian, but it's the same root of language, so we can understand totally and speak Russian without a problem. So he wanted someone with like my voice color and to have like that authentic accent, not to like be some like American actor who's trying to do that kind of accent. So everything he wanted to do is to be as much as authentic as it can, to be like perfect Colossus.
Definitely, I completely see where you're coming from with that, and it definitely sounds a lot more authentic. As I said, I haven't seen the film myself, but I have seen the clips and
Hmm.
all, and definitely is a lot more authentic than in the X-Men films, which is a
And
good
in
thing.
visual part, in visual part, you have like he's
Yes.
that's like some sort of like a small Colossus. Smaller. He looks more like a Terminator, than like a Colossus. The one in X-Men movies,
Yeah.
But the one that we made looks like totally like a comic book Colossus. Visually, he resembles totally like he's the same. Like he jumped from the comic book directly to the screen.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Moving on to my next question, what was the experience like working with the cast and crew of Deadpool?
I enjoy like every second and every person there. Like first of all, the casting that we have, the cast members, like are each of them are such an every actor is perfect actor. Especially Ed Screen is amazing. Brianna Hildebrand is a newcomer, which she's going to be a huge movie star. Ryan is Ryan Reynolds. Everybody knows that. Miranda Baquero. Everybody. Leslie Uggams. You don't know. You know who to like. Who's better than whom. So being a part of that team, especially with Tim Miller as the director, is like the dream team definitely.
That's great to hear. My final question for you is, aside from Deadpool, are there any other upcoming acting roles or other projects you are working on that you would like to talk about?
The thing is, Deadpool is opening so many great doors for me right now, and unfortunately, well, there are so many of those NDA things, until studios say it's official and you can talk about it. I just can't, and I would love to, but as a matter of fact, Deadpool is opening so many beautiful things for me, and thank God for Deadpool, and I hope we're gonna like talk soon about something new.
Yeah. Well, that's great to hear, and hopefully we will find out about some of the opportunities Deadpool has given you soon. So, thank you very much, Stefan, for answering all of my questions. I'll let my co-host Laurent ask his now.
Hmm. Thank you so much
Yes.
for having me.
Oh, yes. And my first question for you, Stefan, what was your reaction to being cast as Colossus? What was that like for you?
Unbelievable, because I was like dreaming about something like this for like long time. And just the chance to, fly to Los Angeles and have like a test shoot for like opportunity like that was enough for me. I was like so satisfied only with that. But then when they called me and they said, you got the role, you are Colossus, trust me, I cannot like verbalize the feeling, the thing I felt. It just made me the happiest man in the world.
I can imagine.
Yeah, unbelievable. Definitely. I just cannot like explain how good it feels.
And if given the opportunity, would you reprise your role as Colossus for other films?
Oh, always, everywhere. I'm totally. I still cannot believe that this is happening to me. So and Deadpool brought this to me, Tim Miller, Ryan. First of all, it's Colossus. So I think we just started, showing Colossus and bringing him back, and people are loving him. So I think that Fox will continue giving Colossus the chance.
That's awesome. And what other actors and actresses would you love to work with in the future of your career, and why?
Oh, well, I don't have like specific names because, I had like, I was lucky to work with so many amazing actors, in my career. And I would just love to continue working like in Marvel Universe. And, who knows, every good actor is a great chance to like learn something. I would love to work still like in Marvel world, but, on the other side, I would like to work with Woody Allen, with, I don't know, De Palma, Tim Burton, Guillermo del Toro, with those directors, because all of their, worlds are amazing. I would love to work with David Fincher and absolutely to work again with Tim Miller.
That's awesome. That's an awesome list. Those are very good choices.
Thank you.
And that's all the questions I have for you today, Stefan. Thank you so much for answering them.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead
Thank you.
and give to our co-host, Al. He has a few questions for you.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, Stefan. Thanks so much for joining us. Just a few questions, because I'm probably the only one that's seen it out of the three of us. After watching Deadpool, I was in awe in how accurate Colossus was to the comics. Can you tell us like your inspirations or influences in getting into the character?
Well, as I said, I'm a big fan of X-Men, so I was like involved in an X-Men universe, and I was a fan of Colossus, especially because he's Slavic, I'm Slavic, on the other side. So when you're reading from Serbia those comics, you always have like some sort of like bigger emotion to the superheroes from your part of the world, if I can say it like that. When I was a kid. But Tim Miller had like he didn't want to disappoint fans, so he wanted Colossus to be as much as authentic as it could. So we gave him like we wanted like to make him as you said the authentic that it can be. So we were just like working on as two kids trying to make their imaginary Colossus, to make him real. So the thing is, we were just like giving our best shots, and we knew that the thing that we are doing is absolutely correct.
Yeah, I think every time I'm reading a comic that has Colossus in it, I think you're officially my voice in my head.
Well, I think we got because only the difference between my voice and that. Well, there's no difference in voice. There's only difference in accent because we tried to make it a little bit more Russian. So when I said like we can't allow this or we can't allow this, see the difference. It's a little bit more comic, but it's in the end it's like really similar.
It was perfect, thank you. I guess my next question is, what are your favorite scenes in the Deadpool movie that you can talk about? I know it's a bit of a weird question.
Well, movie is coming out. It's already coming out all around the world, and in the States it's coming tomorrow. So definitely my favorite scene. Well, all of the scenes that I did in the movie are really special. But if I need to like take one out, it's like the final Colossus's final monologue. When he's trying to stop Deadpool from killing Ajax, and that's like the real old school X-Men monologue, and it's really funny though. So that's I cannot like talk more about it, but that scene is my favorite scene, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great scene.
Yeah.
My final my final question would be, if Colossus appears in the Deadpool 2, what would you like to see the character do in the potential sequel?
Oh, well, the thing is, people really love how the chemistry between Colossus and Deadpool, which is like I'm really proud of that. But in case that Colossus is coming back, and I really hope so, because it definitely is a big part of Deadpool. So I don't know, maybe he can still have like Brianna with him, like NTW, and on the other side, I would love to see maybe he meets his sister Ilyana. She's a superhero too, Ilyana Rasputin. She's called Magique. So I think maybe if she comes out as a villain against, there's like so many things. And if we have like X-Force, that would be cool, because Colossus was a part of X-Force in one moment. Even like he's an X-Men, but he was joining X-Force and he was joining Excalibur. So, there's so many paths that we can like get Colossus to.
Definitely agree. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned X-Force. I know that's been in the sort of people have been sort of
There are
rumors on that.
talks. There are talks. That there's like gonna be like X Force movie or maybe X Force showing up in Deadpool sequel. We never know. Because this is just like green lighted. So there's no script ideas right now. It's just like we're gonna go for the sequel because definitely Deadpool is gonna have like amazing success as a movie. But let's see. Let's enjoy the first part of Deadpool, and then we're gonna like talk about the sequel and everything else.
Definitely, my fingers crossed, and I definitely hope to see you reprise the role as Colossus in the X-Force movie.
Thank you
So,
so much. Thank you so
so
much for everything.
yeah, thanks again for answering all my questions. I'll just pass you over back to Rory.
Thank you.
So that's all of our questions for you today, Stefan. It's been a pleasure talking to you on the podcast.
The pleasure is all mine, Rory. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. Hopefully we can talk to you again at some point.
Yep. I'll always be here for you guys. Whatever you need, I'll be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thanks to you for joining us. So we'll talk to you again soon then.
Bye. Bye. All the best. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks again.
Bye.
That was our interview with actor Stefan Kapicic, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it. So, you both ready to wrap up today's show?
Sure.
Definitely.
So, make sure to check out our podcast links. Check out our website, website.everythinggeekpodcast.com/EGP. Check out our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Check out our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/user/everythinggeekcast. Check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/everythinggeekp. Check us out on Instagram, instagram.com/official Everything Geek Podcast. Check out our Mixcloud profile at www.mixcloud.com/Everything Geek Podcast. Email us at the below email, everythinggeekpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our companion podcast, Everything Geek Comic Cast, www.facebook.com/Everything Geek Comic Cast. Make sure to check out the hosts' YouTube channels. Mine is www.youtube.com/user/separatist destroyers. Laurent's is www.youtube.com/user/